Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about fluorescence spectroscopy. It is the second part of the first unit in the instrumental methods of analysis. The first part is the UV spectroscopy, which we have already completed. In this video lecture we will discuss about different fundamentals and the Perrin-Jablonski diagram in fluorescence spectroscopy. So coming to the introduction portion. Fluorescence is a technique which is used in cell and molecular biology experiments. We use fluorescent dyes, fluorescent stains and fluorescently tagged antibodies to detect proteins, amino acids, nucleic acids and different structures present in cells and tissues. Using various microscopy and fluorocytometry experiments, we can detect the presence, localization and the amount of fluorescent molecule. Fluorescence is used in such experiments because it can be quantitatively detected. So the molecules which are fluorescent in nature are known as fluorophore. Fluorophores are similar to the chromophore which we have already discussed in UV spectroscopy. A fluorophore is a fluorescent chemical compound that can re-emit light upon light excitation. Fluorophores typically contain several combined aromatic groups or planar or cyclic molecules with several pi bonds. Here are various examples of the fluorophore. The first is the fluorescein. And the structure of fluorescein, there is the presence of various aromatic rings. The next fluorophore is ethidium bromide. And ethidium bromide is used to intercalate DNA in agarose gel. And the structure contains various aromatic rings. Now, as we have already discussed that the fluorescent dyes, fluorescent stains are used to detect proteins and amino acids. So, what are the fluorophores which are present in a protein? These are the aromatic amino acid residues of tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine. If we concentrate on the structure of tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine, then there are the presence of aromatic rings in the tryptophan, tyrosine and the phenylalanine structures also. So before going to the details of phosphorescence, let's understand some important terms. The first important term is the singlet state. A singlet state in which all the unpaired electrons have opposite spin. This is a singlet ground state. Here both the unpaired electron in the ground state have opposite spins. Hence it is known as singlet ground state. The next is the singlet excited state. Here the unpaired electron in the ground state have opposite spin as that of the unpaired electron in the excited state, and this is known as singlet excited state. The next important term is the triplet excited state, and this is a state in which the unpaired electron have same spin that in the unpaired electron in the ground state is having the same spin as that of the unpaired electron in the excited state, and this is known as triplet excited state. Now what are the other important terms which are used? The first important term is the fluorescence, and it is the phenomenon of emission of radiation when there is a transition from singlet excited state to singlet ground state. The next important term is phosphorescence, and it is the phenomenon of emission of radiation when there is transition from triplet excited state to singlet ground state. The next is the internal conversion, and transitions from higher electronic state to the lower electronic state is called as internal conversion, and in this transition there is no radiations are emitted. The next is the inter-system crossing, and it is a non-radiative transition between two isoenergetic vibration levels belonging to electronic states of different multiplicities. The next is the stroke shift. The energy of emission is typically less than that of the absorption, and this is the point to be noted, that the energy of emission is less than that of the energy of absorption. Fluorescence typically occurs at lower energies or longer wavelength, because there is an inverse relation between the energy and the wavelength. So fluorescence spectroscopy is a type of electromagnetic spectroscopy that analyzes fluorescence from a sample, and the principle of fluorescence spectroscopy depends upon the Perrin-Jablonski diagram. So what is a Perrin-Jablonski diagram? This diagram explains all the physical processes that the excited electron adopted to undergo from the excited state to the ground state, because electrons is unstable in the excited state, so it tried to get back in the ground state. So when an electromagnetic light falls on an electron here, S0 is the state in the S0 is the state in the ground state, and S0 represents the singlet ground state. S1 is the singlet excited state, S2 is the higher singlet excited state, and T1 is the triplet state. So when an electromagnetic light falls on an electron over here, then it absorbs the UV light and reaches to the excited state, either in S1 excited state or in S2 excited state from the ground state. And in excited state, the electrons are very unstable, so to gain stability again they try to get back in the ground state at S0 positions. So according to Jablonski, there are multiple pathways by which the energy absorption by an electron is released. There are multiple pathways. The energy absorption is released mainly by two pathways, the radiative pathway and the non-radiative pathway. So there are different ways by which the electron release energy and comes in the singlet ground state. This is the singlet ground state. The first is the non-radiative transmission, in which the electron shift in the lower electronic level without radiating any radiation. This is the higher electronic level and this is the lower electronic level. So electrons can come from here to here, and this process is known as internal conversion, in which the electrons comes in the ground state only by emission of heat or by collision with other species in the medium. Internal convergence, in which there is transition from the higher electronic level to the lower electronic level, and as I have already said that this transition is, there is no radiations emitted in this transition. The next pathway is the radiative pathway, in which there is a transition from the singlet excited state to the singlet ground state. This is the S1 is the singlet excited state and S0 is the singlet ground state. And this transmission occurs via the emission of the light, and this is known as fluorescence. In fluorescence, there is the emission of light and there is a convergence from the singlet excited state to the singlet ground state. And this process takes place very instantly, and there is a very less time for this, and this time is 10 to the power minus 9 seconds. The next pathway is the inter-system crossing, and where there is a transition between two isoenergic vibrational level having different spin multiplicities. In this, there is a transition from singlet excited state to the triplet state, and then to the singlet ground state. And this process is known as phosphorescence, and it is also a radiative pathway, and it is a slower process. It is a slower process which takes within the time of 10 to the power 3 to 10 to the power 1 second. So this is the Jabotinsky diagram and different pathways by which the electrons in the excited state comes to the ground state. So in conclusion, S0 is the singlet ground state, and when UV light falls over the electron, it absorbs the light and becomes, this is the UV light, this is the UV light. When fall over the electron, it will absorb the UV light and comes in the singlet excited state, that is S1. And there are two pathways through which the excited electron try to get back to the ground state, because the excited electron is very unstable. The one is the radiative pathway and other is the non-radiative pathway. In radiative pathway, there is the fluorescence and other is the phosphorescence. In fluorescence, electrons in the singlet excited state get back to the singlet ground state via the emission of the light. In phosphorescence, electron in the singlet excited state undergoes inter-system crossing and converted to the triplet state, that is T1, and then get back to the singlet ground state. And this process is known as phosphorescence, and both of these processes are the radiative pathway. In the non-radiative pathway, there is an energy transfer without radiating any radiation. That is, the electrons comes in the ground state by emission of heat or by collision with other species in the medium. And the other pathway is the quenching, and this quenching we will discuss in our next lecture. If you like this video, please do subscribe my channel. Just click on the subscribe button below this video and do share with your friends. Thank you for watching.